Then, there it goes. Okay, so we are live. Now this is the moment where we just wait about a minute for people to hop on and start watching. And then once that I start seeing the numbers go up, then we will start the show. But for anyone who's joining us right now, before I see the numbers tick up, you're watching a very special edition of Stand Up, Fight Back. So, okay, so it looks like we're starting to get a few people. So why don't we get started, because it is getting a little late here. Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Stand Up, Fight Back. This evening we're discussing the crisis that is unfolding in Texas right now, where extreme weather has caused massive power outages across the state. But before we get started, let's do some introductions. I'm Margot Paez, scientist, engineer, and occasional journalist, and this is my co-host, my friend and hero, the amazing grassroots organizer, Carlos Marroquin. As mentioned, you're watching a special edition of our weekly Sunday show, Stand Up, Fight Back, where we discuss strategy and analysis for the progressive movement. We simulcast on Facebook and YouTube, so please share us with your friends and family. Please subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. We have a few guests tonight. Our first is Carlos Martinez, a longtime national organizer and grassroots activist now based in Austin, Texas. Carlos was part of Occupy Wall Street, Viva Bernie, Popular Resistance, and part of many other groups, activism, and direct actions. Our other guest is Bertha Rendon Delgado. Bertha is a sixth-generation East Austin native, born and raised on Haskell Street, with the zip code 78702 for all those people out there in Texas who are watching. She is the president of East Town Lake Citizen Neighborhood Association, City of Austin Housing Commissioner, CDC East Austin 78702. She's the president of the Brown Berets of Austin, East Austin activist and advocate, and a longtime member of LULAC. Carlos, my co-host, of course, that's who I mean, please get us started.
Yes, well, thank you everybody for watching this edition of Stand Up, Fight Back. And you know, the crisis in Texas is unfolding, and there's some news reports that are having coming out, but there is nothing like hearing from people on the ground that are affected. This is why we immediately called to some of our friends in Texas, particular my good friend Carlos Martinez, that have helped. We have collaborated in different projects, but I tell you, people on the ground, we understand what's happening. It is a very serious situation right now in Texas, throughout Texas. There are people experiencing very serious conditions right now, on top of the COVID-19 crisis that had continued to devastate many of our communities. This particular crisis is hitting the poor the most. As always, you know, communities of colors, the poor are being deeply affected by the deep freeze that's happening in Texas. And we want to hear directly from our friends, our guests here, because they have the pulse of what's going on in Texas. They're out there on the streets. They have been doing the work. I understand, you know, and they're going to be sharing the story. Carlos and Bertha had to be rescued. And these are the kind of situations that the people in Texas are facing right now, particularly those communities that have been ignored. Carlos Martinez, welcome.
Thank you, Marroquin. You know, it's crazy that we're constantly having to be talking with each other in these situations where we're constantly dealing with some level of tragedy or disaster of some sort. But this one is hitting a little close to home. My home has now been without power going on 78 hours straight. You know, I had to be rescued last night out because I was kind of trying to keep warm with my stove and using the gas on the stove. There's been a lot of carbon monoxide poisonings. And so my neighbors were pretty concerned with the fact that my house smelled a lot like gas while we were there. And I have some pets as well. And so the situation got pretty worrisome and pretty dire there. Started to really question, you know, whether it was humane to be trying to to stay home and hunker down, or to actually run and flee this one. Our nature is to kind of help people in disaster. We've been Carlos and I, Marroquin. I've known you for over a decade now. It seems like, in helping people in disaster areas. But what we've just seen in Texas is unprecedented. I've never in my life seen snow. I used to live in LA and in Santa Barbara, and I don't know if y'all could imagine the LA being completely snowed out, with 6 inches worth of snow for over 6 days. It's just something that I think we'll never maybe ever see. I don't know, maybe we'll see it more often. We started to see a big surge in hurricanes and thunderstorms. Are we going to see extreme winters and extreme summers? I don't know, but right now I'm telling you what we're seeing is really crazy. I'd never seen snow. I'd never thrown a snowball, but it's not a lot of fun to go out and play in the snow whenever you gotta come home to a house with no heat, to not being able to cook and do food for yourself and stuff. It's really gotten pretty bad, and somewhere in the middle of that, I started to really think about, wait, if this is my situation, what's the situation of the elderly, the older people that have some really rundown, uninsulated homes, that are being, really pushed out of the barrios? What's their situation like? What we started to see is that some of the people, they don't want to go to a warming shelter. They don't want to get evacuated or get pulled out because they're afraid of COVID. They're afraid of catching the disease like they've been told all year. They haven't been, excuse me, they haven't been going and socializing with people. So to go all of a sudden and be in a convention or in a center or in a school full with a bunch of people in a room is a little worrisome for our elderly. So the situation's has gotten bad. It's getting worse. I think they've been talking about rolling blackouts. There's no rolling blackout. We've been straight blacked out in our Latino neighborhood for now 78 hours. So they're not rolling, and it's not coming to us. And help isn't coming. No one's coming. Nobody's coming to check on you. Nobody's coming to feed you, to see if you got electricity or this or that. And so really it's depending on each person to kind of reach out for help and see who can help who. So the networks are really getting to that point where we really have to depend on each other, depend on the people that are doing this work, and build our own networks like always. Mutual aid, local, what we're seeing, I guess today, after we really went out and made a fuss all over social media today as things were really chaotic, we started to see some response. But Bertha can tell you a little bit more about that as well, because she's right inside of the east side, just north of the river. I live just south of the river, and so there's a lot going on here where the situation is just unprecedented, something we've never seen before ever in the history of our state, I think.
Yeah, Bertha, good evening to you, and thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you are seeing, your own experience? I understand you also had to be rescued, and what are your concerns? What are you seeing out there that is troublesome to your heart? And we'll take it from there.
So thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here in a live broadcast. And like Carlos said, we are creating our own media to get our attention and our awareness out to the people across the state, across the nation. Texas, as you know, born and raised, I'm a native. This is our state, Austin, Texas. We are just devastated. We are beyond devastated. We have no words to explain what we have been through. I'm very blessed that I have reunited with my family here in my barrio. Like Carlos said, we were rescued from his office, from his home where we work out of, where we were at for days without power, on a landscape that was very dangerous, and not anybody could just get us. We were on a very steep hill in the 78741 area, which is across the river of my barrio. The whole district, District 3, District 2, District 1, the whole Eastern Crescent, all the way to the Del Valley and the rural county area of Maynard have been affected by this. I think I'm very heartbroken that many of us took days to shower, that many of us needed rescue, that many of us have been without power for that many hours, over 60 hours without power. The fact that our state has declared a disaster of crisis here, and the fact that we're still under a national pandemic crisis, I think is really disappointing to see the infrastructure and the action plan that our capital city of Texas here in Austin have failed to do and serve the community of their constituents here in Austin. Carlos and I, as LULAC members, are very, very strong advocates of trying to make sure that this doesn't ever happen again. As we're still without power, I'm in a home here with candles and flashlights and boiling water here with my family, our elders that need the protection, that need us young people to be here with them, and making sure that their homes are not broken in, making sure that they're safe and they have the resources to get by for the last couple of days and the days to come. And so I'm just, I'm very, very just irate. I'm mad. I'm angry at our officials, at our governor, at the way they've handled this crisis. And I now feel like a Katrina victim. I now feel like a victim from California and the fires. I now, and my people now know what it feels like to be in a natural disaster and be without power for over 60 days. And our food is spoiling. Our candles are just barely holding on. And we have not yet seen Red Cross, FEMA, firefighters, and people coming to our doors and making sure we have aid. So that's my outcry today. I'm filled with a lot of emotion. And I'm just really glad that you have given me the opportunity to share what my 5,000 residents from Cesar Chavez to the Town Lake area, which the little small barrio I'm in, that is the very small percentage of over 150,000 residents in our district, and over millions of residents across the state. That are all facing the same hardships and burdens that we are today. And it's very, very heartbreaking.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Oh,
Margot,
no problem.
please.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit more about where the breakdown is right now? I think you touched a little bit on the local officials, and for those of us outside of Texas, we've heard a little bit from at least one mayor who basically said, you know, every man and woman for themselves, basically, and then had to resign for their obviously inappropriate comments. But could you tell us a little bit what you think is going on in terms of why nobody is getting the help that they need?
Well, the fact is that whatever plan was supposed to take place on a state level, obviously did not make it down the pipeline to the city level and the county officials. And because they had no plan to be able to respond to this crisis and have no infrastructure set up to actually go out to the public and serve the community, there's no plan. And so they just keep blaming each other. And that's really what we've been hearing in the press conference that came out from council, from the mayor, from city manager, all the way from the beginning. We were able to view it before we went down. they again just said help each other, help one another, but not giving us the resources of how we were going to help one another out here. And so there's really no explanation for the plan of why, you know, they weren't able to come together and unite county, state, and city, local, and really get you know, a rescue team and people out here to the streets. They never explained that. They never have showed accountability for that. And we're still waiting to hear from our officials. And it's really not anything that is going to help us. And so we're really just out here, you know, fending for ourselves, trying to figure out how to survive. And luckily we have community organizations that are out here, and we also have a council member on the dais, Vanessa Fuentes, that has pushed for her district to get a shelter. And so we have certain individuals and organizations, grassroots and locally, that are out here assisting us. But as far as city, state, they kept saying the National Guard was coming. They never showed up. They never showed up. So we're asking, where's our assistance? And so we're really left without power. We're having to charge phones through the vehicle. You know, that's how I'm talking to you today, with the charge phone through the vehicle. I have, you know, candles and a flashlight, but really, you know, we have food outside in the snow. You know, my elders here are over 65 years old. My parents are 2 blocks down where my son is at. Families are all separated right now. My daughters, and you know, in an area where they're getting power. The fact of inequity of how the plan was set for grids to get turned off and rotate. All of Southwest Austin and downtown and the richest parts of the city all had power. Wow. And we didn't. And so that's the inequity. That's the issue we're having of how the low income neighborhoods and the families and people that didn't have enough backup resources, how were they supposed to function through a 4 or 5 day shut off? They didn't have a plan for us. And so we're looking at how that looks and how that feels. If we were to live in a rich neighborhood or in an area, and even a neighborhood that's been gentrified where I live at, those individuals come from different states and know how to live in a winter area like this. And those people are not affected because they have the resources and they're able to go rent a hotel or go to another family or friends across I-35. A lot of the low income working class and elders don't have that opportunity. And so those people are stuck in their homes. And because of coronavirus, they don't want to risk going to other houses and other areas where they can be subject to getting a deadly virus like we're fighting right now. And so we just, you know, again, we're facing with just different challenges right now, and we're really asking for people to assist us.
Carlos, one of the things that we may be able to do is, since if I can pull off right here, is I think I can maybe step out to this little balcony where I'm at. I am literally on the other side of the freeway that Bertha is talking about. Now, I think you can kind of see here. Let me kind of move this off. Let me see, like this. Okay.
There's a lot of lights back there.
Okay, so you see this lights right here?
Yeah.
This is the area where I'm at. But if you look at this dark spot in the middle right there, you'll see cars slowly going across the freeway.
Yeah.
And Bertha is just on the other side of the I-35 there in the dark.
Wow.
So the side that I'm on is over here on downtown, where even this parking lot, look at the lights on this parking lot. So you got cars sitting here with lights. And then if you look right in the middle, you can see the darkness of the Latino neighborhood on the other side of that freeway.
You know, Carlos Martinez, I saw a tweet of this. Actually, somebody had taken a photo where one side of the freeway was totally black, like you're showing us now, and the other side was this downtown. It was all bright lights. And when I saw it, actually I saw it this morning, I really didn't believe it. I was like, this could have just been, photoshopped or like pulled from someplace else. But here I see it, it's on your camera, and it's just so shocking. It's really shocking. I don't really understand how this can be possible at this day and age in the United States, the richest country in the world, that we can have this kind of attitude towards the people who live here.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Carlos Marroquin.
This is all about wealth.
Yeah.
The people that have versus the people that don't have. If you have money, you have healthcare. If you have money, you have electricity. If you have money, you have resources during a state of crisis. Clearly, we are seeing over and over again how the poor communities are left behind. You have one side of the city, thriving, one side of the city with lights during a state of crisis. We have another side of the city that lays in ruin, in darkness, and is looking for help at every turn. So that's what the people of Texas are facing right now, particularly the poor communities where they are not receiving the help that they should be getting. And it's very upsetting and troublesome because, yes, Margaret, as you stated, this is the richest country in the world. No one should be experiencing this, except the fact that there is institutional racism. We see that even with agencies that discriminate, our communities. And the question needs to be asked, why are all the people in Austin, Texas, not receiving the help that they need, particularly the poor communities? That's the question that needs to be asked. And why is it that the governor is moving so slow on this? Why the National Guard has not been out there setting up already emergency shelters, et cetera, or making sure that people are okay in their homes, going from home to home. They have the resources to do that. Why are they not doing that?
That seems like the billion-dollar question, right? Has there been any word in terms of federal relief? Bertha, Carlos Martinez, have either of you heard anything from the Biden administration?
I don't think that we've heard anything directly, overtly, out loud. If it has been, I haven't seen it on. I haven't been able to watch news or keep up with stuff. That's the other thing that people don't realize is that, when these things happen, you don't have power, you don't have phone, you don't have electricity, you don't have these things. We've obviously had to prepare and charge up to be able to even execute this interview. So that we can get the word out to people outside, because even getting the word to people here is very hard. It's about who's got a charger. I was lucky in that my neighbors had a solar panels and were charging their phones up, and they were lending me a battery pack with a little bit of battery power. So I was having to limit my calls and what I could do until it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to use my juice to get out and get alive. And that's where we got Bertha was rescued a couple of hours before I was, and later in that evening, as it got dark, she was able to send somebody to come pick me up at like 10:30 at night before it got real bad. So I don't, it's very hard, I think, to even do this. We need some people that are going around with bigger vehicles. The person that picked me up had a Subaru that she said she had bought in Wisconsin. She's like, I grew up in the snow. I know how to drive. You're okay with me? Let me help you. And I felt safe with her. I felt safe in her Subaru. I felt safe being taken to where I finally got to with somebody that was able to help me with a warm place to stay in, just on the other side of the freeway. But even getting here was a little treacherous, but we made it. But we definitely need people with the right vehicles to be able to get out there, to start knocking on doors, to start with a mega horn. We all have a bullhorn, Carlitos. We've been protesting long enough. if there's one thing that we got batteries for, it's for our bullhorn, and to get out there and to see who needs help in our neighborhood, because that's what it takes. We gotta, I think we've learned, Carlos, one thing, time after time, is that in the United States, our community has been attacked. Our ability of knowing who our neighbors were, the way we communicated, building community is where we've really worked in over the last several years, because we've seen that those infrastructures are broken. And at the end of the day, we really have to depend on each other and do it, because, I think we even remember during Hurricane Sally, it was Occupy Sally that really helped people. It wasn't FEMA. It wasn't these federal orgs aren't stepping up. We can't trust them or depend on them. We have to continually build our networks and work with each other to strengthen those networks, because sometimes it feels that some of the people in power don't really give a damn about us, that we're collateral damage. You know what? Bertha's parents are not collateral damage to me. Bertha's tío and tía is not collateral damage. I don't care how fast they want to push our little old viejitos out of the colonia, the barrio, so that they can flip that house for $1 million. It's just not gonna, it can't happen on our watch. We can't let our viejitos and our neighborhoods be attacked like this. We have to do what we can. We can start cooking food for ourselves, for our neighbors, start going around and passing out, food. And that's what we're going to have to do. We have to get blankets. We have to get mittens, just something so silly. We've all been doing the meme on Bernie mittens here, right? I mean, how many memes have we seen? Guess what, folks? We need mittens in Texas. Like, our hands are cold as hell. And who the hell had mittens here? I mean, we just hadn't prepared for it. I mean, I got to wear a hat to keep heat on my head, but I don't have a beanie. Beanies were primo right now. Ear cuffs. Who the heck has ear cuffs out here? I mean, we don't have those things. So we really need to get as much help as we can and get equipment to those. We just had somebody die last night at a homeless place at Casa Esperanza, at the Esperanza Center. So
I definitely agree with Carlos. I mean, we weren't prepared. And that's really what it boils down to. We were not prepared, and we would have thought that our city officials and our people that are in control of all of these resources. I mean, you're looking at a tech city with big tech companies. We have a lot of revenue, a lot of money, revenue stream coming through Austin. You would have thought that they would have been at least a little bit more generous and compassionate to the poor and to the working class and to the neighborhoods that have always been neglected. And so, like Mr. Carlos, how you said about systematic institutional racism, like Carlos said, a broken system, a system that was designed for us to fail from centuries ago. So our culture, our minority people, our people of color have continued to suffer the sacrifices to be able to get the rights, the equal rights of our people. And it's been a challenge. And you would think we're in the 21st century, we're 2021. You would think with the technology we have, with everything that we are in going with right now, you would think we would be in a better spot. And the fact that people have lost their lives, and the people that are living in their homes right now without power for 4 days, like Carlos says, it's inhumane. It is a criminal offense. And it's just gotten to a point where we have to outcry our concerns outside our state, and really seek out the help from others to assist and create a solidarity and how we can prevent this from ever happening. And how are we going to get out of it? My question is right now to everybody is, how are we going to get our power back on, and how are we going to get out of it, and where are we going to go? That's the question, the big question.
Yeah, that's a very big question. And that one is, I think that's very difficult to answer, because these are, power companies and I think so long as the temperatures are low, the natural gas cannot move through. So that is a bit of an issue, and it seems that the big solution to this has to come from the government, right? But at the same time, it seems that at the state level, the government is failing. So this is an extremely dire situation, and I think that
one quick thing.
Carlos,
They just gave us a water boil notice. So that means they even want us to start boiling any water that we're drinking. I mean, add that on top of everything we got going on.
Yes, that which means that there's not enough. I guess the water treatment plants are not getting power, so they can't treat the water, or there's concern that they're not able to treat the water. So that's also very not easy situation. We also we'd like to tweet out. I mean, not tweet out, but like post in the comments any links that you have that we can share with our viewers so that they can help out any way that they can from where they are right now. So is there anything like a link that you would like to share for like donations or anything like that, Carlos or Bertha?
Yeah, I can put a link in the chat room. I just did try to do
I see it. I think I see it here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and paste this into the comments section, and then I will post this also on the actual live stream so that people can see it on here as we continue our discussion. Carlos Marroquin, I know you want to say something, but let me just remind people that that we're here with two very special guests. We have Bertha Delgado and we have Carlos Martinez here, who they are in Austin, Texas. They are living through this extreme weather crisis that is going through there, and they've just been telling us their story. They actually had to be rescued from their homes, from where they were because of the lack of power. And so now we are just trying to understand the situation and trying to get them any kind of help that we can. Okay, Carlos Marroquin, please go ahead.
So that's what one of the things that the whole reason why this broadcast is so that we can understand the situation in Texas and how we can better assist them. So I appreciate you guys providing that link so that people that wish to help out, by sending $20, whatever they can, so that you can have at least a little money to be able to do some response to the most needed people out there. So I appreciate you guys for connecting us with that and accepting this interview. But Margot, you study climate change. This is one of your specialties. We are seeing a pattern of these things happening over and over, and things getting worse by the time. Climate change has to be a priority for the Biden administration or any administration. Anyone, this is no secret. It's coming and it's getting worse. What are your thoughts on that, Margaret?
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. Thank you for bringing that up, because I know I heard Bertha talking about, she said she felt like the people who were affected by Katrina and the folks who were also affected by the fires in California. And when she said that, I thought in my mind, the connection between all of these are extreme weather events that are connected to climate change. And actually, what's happening right now in Texas is due to the jet streams weakening. And the jet streams have weakened because the ice is melting in the poles. And the ice is melting because it's getting warmer there. And in fact, in the poles of the planet, it's warming much faster than it is in the middle region of the planet. So as the ice melts, it starts to, the warming temperature starts to affect the balance that we have in the globe of the jet streams. And so if the jet streams are weakening, the usual patterns that we expect to have are no longer there. And so they sometimes, they sit in a location that they normally would not sit. And so that causes these extreme weather events that we're seeing. And that's causing these extreme cold weather snaps and this unusual weather that, like Carlos Martinez was describing, that they're not prepared for it. Of course they're not prepared for it, because this is an extreme weather event that should not really be happening if we were not living in a warming planet. It's like, you have like a curve that goes like this, and you have like a little space in here. Like before climate change, you had this space, and like, and this was like the most likely events of weather that would happen. And on the outside would be like the extreme weather events. But now this space has opened up, and so now you have more extreme weather events possible in this range. And that's because the planet is warming. So that's why we're seeing a lot more of this. And that's why we need a real response from the federal government in order to stop this. And we need things like a Green New Deal. And of course, we need more than that. We need investment in actual like carbon capture and ways to pull the carbon out of the atmosphere if we want to see these kind of events not happen again. But if we can't do that, then we need to get with the program. We need the Biden administration to really understand that this is going to keep happening. It's going to happen much more regularly, and more people are going to be affected. And the people who are going to be affected are, of course, going to be the most underserved populations in this country, the most ignored, the most forgotten people. Latinx communities, Black communities, Indigenous communities. And we're seeing this over and over again. We've seen this with the pandemic. And in the middle of a pandemic, we're seeing these crises unfold. So I really think that we need federal action. And I'm worried that the Biden administration is not taking this as seriously as it should, or has really come to terms with what is going on, because Joe Biden signed an executive order to put a moratorium on oil drilling, and they were going to, like review these things and say like, which ones we're going to approve. But after they did that, they still approved like a couple of dozen contracts, I believe, for drilling. And that to me is not a sign that you take this situation seriously. I'm concerned, and Carlos, I'm just really excited to talk about climate change, and unfortunately that this is happening. But so did I miss anything?
No. Yes.
I do want to add that
I get exercised over this. Yes.
And here in our city, that climate change has been addressed to our mayor, to our council and city manager for the last, I want to say, 7 years. We have environmentalists here. One of them is an organization, grassroots organization called Full Dead, Susana Almanza and her team, that have been one of the pioneers of East Austin in actually assisting the neighborhood by closing the Hollow Power Plant and other oil tanks and other type of industrial factories here in our barrio where we were housed at, where we grew up. And one of the things that has been addressed, reports have been done. There's also an environmentalist board and commission here in the city of Austin. They have been fighting for climate change across the nation, but our city has been aware of this type of conversation and discussion. The sad thing is when you see that happening and it being brought to attention that this is coming in the near future, and you see that those officials that are still in our dais today, that are still leading our capital city today, have yet to do anything about it. So it's like the work has been done, right? City, local, state, nationally, but leaders in powerful positions failed to take action. And I really hope that our new administration with the Biden administration does take action and they do really provide some type of assistance to our nation. And so as a local level, we've been talking about climate conversation for going on 7 years here in Austin, and nothing has been done, absolutely zero. And so I just want to share that because I want to give that credit to all the environmentalists and the climate groups that are out there, Sierra Club, so many others, like I said, Boved, have really worked hard in bringing that topic on the front line of conversation for our officials.
Thank you.
Were we able to post the link that Carlos provided us in there?
Yes. Yeah. I posted into the comment section, and I also have it up here on the live stream. So again, to our viewers, we have this GoFundMe link here. Please donate what you can, even $1, if that's all you can afford, will help. They need a lot of help. They need what do you need? Why don't I let you, Carlos Martinez, please tell us, what does the community need right now?
One of the things is cooked food. Cooked food is important. So being able to get cooked food to people. We don't have clean water. We have to start using water bottles because there's a water boiling thing. So people need water bottles. We're gonna also needing propane heaters. Even those little camping propane things are really coming in handy. Blankets, and to get people generators if
Lanterns,
possible. If we
flashlights,
can get generators,
lanterns.
flashlights, candles, mittens, earmuffs, head beanies, electric socks. I mean, thermal underwear. I mean, the basics. I mean, I don't think I've owned a pair of thermal underwear since I was a little kid. you know, I wish I had some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna definitely keep in touch. We want to be able to understand what the needs are going to be in the next few days, and as this crisis continues to develop. I am talking to other activists here in LA to see what kind of response we are going to be giving for the people in Texas. But we are definitely going to. We cannot stand idle, and we cannot just stand here sitting down. While other people are in literally life and death situation. We have to step up. We have to do whatever we can. So I am encouraging all of our viewers, all of our followers, all of our supporters, all of our friends, our families, give something. Give something today to the link that we provided here. It's a GoFundMe to be able to help the folks over there in Texas at the grassroots level. This is the people that usually will never receive any kind of help because they are literally at the bottom of the barrel. So for us here today, count on our support. Carlos, whatever you guys need, give me a call anytime, no matter what time it is. We have people already paying attention to this, but we want folks to know that you're not going to be alone. We're going to do whatever we can from our end. And with that, Margaret, do you have anything else to say? Maybe our guests can have our last thoughts.
Yes. Let's go ahead. Bertha, would you like to say any final thoughts?
I just want to thank you all. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in this evening. Literally, we have a radio that's literally giving us news updates, and we're all getting updates from our phone, from a cellular tower, and our towers have been down. So I just want to thank everyone for taking the opportunity to tune in into this show. I want to thank the co-hosts, the hosts. Thank you for bringing me on this evening and to allow me to share our hardship, what we're facing here in Austin, Texas. And I speak for many here in our longtime barrio here in East Austin. And so again, prayers for all of us, hoping that we get out of this, that the weather clears up and we're able to get back our electric and so we can be able to function with the quality of life and we not live like this anymore. So thank you again. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Bertha. Carlos, please share some thoughts with us before we sign off.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, some people are taking the capacity of we can't do anything or there's nothing you can do and get incapacitated. And then there's some people who see the opportunity and do something and take action. And I really want to just thank everybody who's out there helping people, who's out there doing the mutual aid. If you can do the action, do that. If the people that are sharing, that all they can do is share, and share the word, post this in groups, that's what you do, that's awesome. If all you can do is donate $5 because you can't share or this, then and that's where you can meet us, that's fine, perfect, no problem. You know, but for our leaders who are in positions of elected power and choose to do nothing and be completely useless, um, man, this is there's a day of reckoning coming, and we don't forget, we vote, we're voters, we organize, we move people to the polls. We are not forgetting. You know, we need to get rid of those councilmen that aren't serving us. I really want to give a huge shout out to my dear friend Vanessa Fuentes. I've, you know, have we spoken before, Carlitos? You know, I've worked on her campaign,
I love you,
and I'm
Vanessa.
telling you, she stepped right up. She put a warming center in her district. She's been working with everybody around to get people there, to get the message out. She's front lines, boots on the ground. She's not being scared. She's stepping up and doing whatever she can on whatever level she can. And that is what we need. We need people to step up and do what you can when you can. Whatever you can do, do something. But being useless in an elected position of power in these situations is criminality. And so I really am thankful to be working, to have worked with an organization like LULAC, where I know that our president has indicated that he is going to be looking at potentially suing whether it's the state or ERCOT or whoever it is, for any of the deaths that happen to our elderly out there, to happen to our people from carbon monoxide, to a homeless person in a camp somewhere, in those tents that are freezing over. I don't know how many people are checking on those tents every day, you know, but if what we can do is cook food and get food out and get some mittens and gloves or whatever, let's just meet people where we can, do what we can, and, you know, keep helping each other, because that's what, at the end of the day, who's here for us. We've learned this a long time, Carlitos, is it's us that are here for each other, because we've had, you know, disappointment after disappointment, whether it's a housing crisis, whether it's the mortgage crisis, whether it's a college crisis, whether it's a tech bubble, whether it's a financial, you know, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we've had to, when the push comes to shove, we have to depend on each other. And thank you to everybody that's being a network of hope out there for everyone else.
Thank you again, Carlos. I'd like to thank our guests for being with us today and sharing their experience and some of the things that they are seeing out there on the ground. Without them being able to tell us this, we'll be dependent on whatever the mainstream media will give us, and a few other people reporting from the ground. But thank you for always being there for the people and serving your communities. This is what it's about, is being able to serve one another. We are going to be on a full discussion as to how we can respond to some of the needs and the people in Texas. Margaret, thank you for always pushing for climate change and the work that you are doing as a scientist to be able to understand what needs to happen and which direction we need to move. But we are excited that this coming Sunday we are going to having guests from the Sunrise Movement. So I am very excited. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that, Margaret, as we let our friends go and go to rest. I know they've been up late with us. They're in Texas, we in California. So, Margaret?
Sure, yes. Thank you so much, Bertha and Carlos Martinez, for being on with us today. And please get a good night's sleep and stay warm and stay safe. And as for our show on Sunday, we will be having an organizer, yes, with the Sunrise Movement. Her name is Gabby Pierce, and we're going to be talking about what they're doing to fight climate change and to get the Green New Deal passed through Congress. And they would like to get green union jobs for millions of people. So this is going to be a really good discussion, and I think it ties in very well, unfortunately, with what's happening right now in Texas. So we look forward to having all of you there Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, please, everyone, stay safe. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Stand Up, Fight Back. And Carlos, I think that's it for tonight, unless there's anything else we should touch on.
Well, we love you guys. thank you, Margaret, for responding and making sure that we had this broadcast today. You know, people have no idea sometimes, you know, how we feel, the stuff that we want to do, but it's the lack of resources that prevents us from doing the things that we want to do to help people. So in the next, you know, I've been working a lot with Michelle Manos, uh, working on boots on the ground, and we are making some preparations for some future stuff that may be coming up and falls in line with what's happening right now, how we respond to things, you know, when we're going to respond, you know, being able to have and tap into resources. Those things are important, but those things cannot happen unless everybody participates and cooperates. So this, whatever we do here at Bernie Sanders Brigade, on Stand Up, Fight Back, on Boots on the Ground, or any organization that we belong to, you know, it's not about one person. It's about all of us working together. It's about all of us, you know, putting a little something into the pot so that others may be able to join in and have the things that they need just to be able to survive. So those are my thoughts today. My prayers are with the people of Texas that are really having a difficult time, particularly in the poor communities. So we pray for them, and we hope that there will be an outpouring of support by the community into different parts of Texas.
Yes, absolutely. And one final thought, I think for those who are watching, who are still on with us, this discussion really showed the failure of the local politicians. So that's why it's so vital for those of you who are watching to run for office, because you actually care about your fellow neighbor. You're not the kind of person who is going to turn around and say, oh, the government doesn't owe you anything. So please, please consider running for office, because we need you to be there, because these situations are happening and they continue to happen. So go on and tell your friends and get yourself on a ballot.
Yes. Anyone that want to continue this conversation, you know how to reach to me. If you want to help, and you say, Carlos, you know, I know you guys are going to be planning stuff. You know, I want to be part of this. I want to contribute. I want to, you know, I want to join. So please do that. Send us an email at Bernie Sanders Brigade at gmail.com. Really easy. Bernie Sanders Brigade at gmail.com. You can send us an email and we'll respond to you. But thank you again, Margaret. Let's
Thank
keep
you,
it up.
Carlos. Yeah, definitely. All right, everyone, don't forget to please donate at this address below. It's GoFundMe.com. Just look up GoFundMe, Austin, Texas, snowstorm relief if you are having trouble seeing the link. And yeah, we'll see you on Sunday morning. So please tune in then. And please stay safe, wear a mask, get that vaccine, and stay healthy. And we'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.